And how are we today? Adrian Dante over here.
Sergeant Lamb.
Hey, a lot of things are going on in this
I know.
country. Hey,
future looks bright.
I'm from New York City. So,
Okay.
So this is really close to me a little bit. You know, things that's going on Wall Street.
The Occupy Wall Street.
We got an email.
Yes,
And
John from Yahoo.
Yeah, and he wants to know what do we think about? Do we want more of a socialist state or country? Or
well, you know, he asked if specifically what they want, because the media is not really covering what they want.
The media never is.
No. You know, you've got Fox News is saying, oh, they're just having sex, doing drugs, and defecating on themselves.
The world is coming to an end, and they're talking about some guy that killed a singer.
You know, it has really nothing to do with it. I mean, I tell you what, the difference between the Occupy Wall Street and the Tea Party movement, at least, there's no racist signs and they're all spelled correctly on the Occupy Wall Street. Yes. So, let's give them some credit. But what they really want is representation. I mean, if you think about it, the Tea Party, historically was, against taxation without representation, okay? We don't have proper representation because my one vote doesn't mean for crap when it gets drowned out by a $1 million campaign contribution from, the Koch brothers to, let's just say, Herman Cain's campaign. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So we are being drowned out. Our voice is being heard, from the corporations that are pretty much buying elected officials. And then you have those same elected officials that go down to Florida and they say, now you can't vote unless you own property, or now you can't vote unless you have a driver's license. So what we simply want, and what the Occupy Wall Street wants, is they just want their voices to be heard. They want representation for their taxation, okay? And you would think that the Tea Party movement would be right next to them on their side. So,
but it's not beneficial for the tea.
Well, no, of course not. And the problem with the Tea Party people is they're actually all paid and funded, all those organizations, Americans for Prosperity, by the Koch brothers and other billionaires. And so, and they say, well, is it against capitalism? No. I love capitalism. I am somewhat of an entrepreneur, hence my big wheel, bike, that a business I'm starting off. However, we don't have a capitalist nation, because what we have is called crony capitalism. Because in a true free market, if you fail, like me, if my company fails because nobody wants to buy my motorcycle parts, am I going to get a bailout?
I don't think so.
Probably not.
I really don't think so.
But Chase Bank or Bank of America or Fannie Mae, Goldman Sachs, they're going to put on a suicide vest and go into the Federal Reserve and say, listen, unless you give us pretty much $1 trillion of taxpayer dollars, we're going to blow up and sink this economy. How is that capitalism? I mean, really, how is that the free market? Okay, how about the fact that we give billions of dollars into oil companies when they are the most profitable companies in the world? How is that the free market when we do corporate welfare? Okay, how is it capitalism when companies hide all their money overseas so they don't have to pay for the infrastructure that they use to gain capital? All right, how is that fair? How is that, I've always said football is a great game, but you need referees. Capitalism is a great system of governing, but you need referees. Otherwise, we get poisoned food, we get polluted air, we get water we can't drink, or we just get left in a coal mine to die because, we did safety cuts because we were worried about that corporate profit. We wanted the shareholders were more important, and their pension, the shareholders' pockets were more important. And let's not even get into the fact that we are sending American sons and daughters overseas to die for these said corporations. Halliburton, Blackwater, KBR, don't get me started. All right? It's insane that we actually have more contractors in Afghanistan than we do U.S. troops. All right? Why? But they have a no-bid contract. All right? I mean, is it fair that our capitalist, system of governing allowed Dick Cheney and Donald Rumsfeld to make millions and millions of dollars off the wars in the Middle East? So what these
definitely that is not fair. And they say that the only one to beat Obama is Dick Cheney. And I don't see how that is. I don't see the justification at all there.
Well, and also, like, these kids, they're all college educated, okay? I mean, they're like, oh, they're just a bunch of hippies. No. These are college educated because in our country, you have to make a profit out of everything or it's not worth doing. Like, I don't know, making sure that people are healthy and alive. You can't make a profit off it, not worth doing. Like education, you have to make a profit off it. Like most countries don't. So you'll find that these kids, the unemployment rate for college graduates are 24%. That's awful, because not only are they fresh into the workforce and with a nice degree and a good skill set, they are riddled with debt. And that is why you will find Middle Eastern doctors, you'll find, actually, for one of the municipalities I worked for, they needed a traffic signal analyst. They hired someone from China, and I thought, like, why? Why someone from China? Like, we don't have our own traffic engineers? Oh, I forgot. Over there, education is free or non-for-profit, and so she's not riddled with $80,000 in debt, so she can take a job, because the cities are broke right now, that pays a little bit less.
Sure, but, and also, they, not only are they riddled with debt, but they go in there they're coming out of school with a mind frame that they think that no matter where they apply for a job, it's going to be $120,000 a year, every kind of insurance and every. Now,
well, we're going off. I mean, you're talking about culture. I mean, we're going a little bit off topic there.
But that all adds to the situation that is going on.
I think they have a debt. They have a legitimate bitch. All right, 24% unemployment facing going to college. Right. And why bother going to college? Then that's exactly the rebuttal to that. When you can work at McDonald's and be a wage slave. I mean, that's really all it is. It's like, again, I understand some people don't want to go to college. I get it. My dad drives a school bus. All right. That's still a function that needs to happen in society. Kids got to get to school. But my dad, again, shouldn't have to yank out his own teeth in order to be healthy and continue to drive that school bus. Okay? There should be means. All right? Sure. And so these kids are doing the right thing, and this is revolution, and this is how it happens. And they have another reason to bitch and be upset, because our government is broken. And I really want to touch bases on why it's broken. Because the wonderful Republican-owned House of Representatives, instead of creating jobs, instead of even bothering to bring up to debate, because they said no, the president's jobs bill, and the Senate voted it down. Of course, all Democrats, not one Republican, voted on the Senate. So instead of worrying about jobs, because that's what they all want, we all want jobs. Because you know what? If we are working, we can't protest. And if we're working, we're paying our taxes, and we're all happy contributing to society. But instead of taking on a jobs bill or even trying to create one damn job, the Republicans passed a new law.
Don't tell me.
So let me give you a little history lesson real quick. St. Joe's Hospital here in Arizona, run by the Catholic Church. A woman that was a mother of 3 children and had a husband was pregnant. She was 11 weeks pregnant, and she was going to die due to a disorder. Not only was her baby going to die, she was 100% guaranteed to die if she kept this baby. So, all the doctors and the head nun, who'd been a nun for like 40 years, that was her whole life devoted to the church, decided she needed to get an abortion to save her life, to take care of her family. Alright? Catholic Church disavows the nun, kicks her out of the church, and also disavows that hospital. Now, St. John's Hospital is no longer affiliated with the Catholic Church, and they are broke. Okay, now, here we have the House of Representatives have to get involved, all right? Because the government, the Tea Party wants smaller government, but they want to shove that straight into a woman's uterus, because that's where the government needs to be, making decisions for women. So, as it stands, nationally the law is, if I go to a hospital, regardless of whether I'm insured or not, and I'm bleeding to death, they have to save me. We do not let Americans or human beings die in front of us. Here we go now. If a woman is going into a hospital and she is pregnant, regardless of how long, and it is medically decided that in order to save her life, we have to perform an abortion. If any of the nurses or doctors said, I don't want to do this because it's against my religion, legally, they can let her die on the floor, in front of the hospital. No big deal.
Is that now? You tell me
that is now a law, and that was passed last week.
That is unbelievable.
And Nancy Pelosi was saying, this is ridiculous. This is misogyny at its greatest point. This is nothing but let women die. And this was the bill entitled Protect Life Act. Okay,
Whose lives you gotta ask?
you know, like they say they're pro-life, but they're pro. All right, so let's just say you're average conservative. I'm pro-life. Okay, all right. Well, what are you pro? Because you love the death penalty, you love going to war, you love killing brown people in the Middle East. You just want to nuke the whole country. Okay. You also you're okay to let the mom die. All right. So I don't get it. It's like I think Republicans and conservatives are just pro-birth. Like something about just that, you know, just I don't know. Maybe that gets them kicks. But it's like, okay, so if you're pro-life, you'd rather let already living life die to save a potential. But if you think about it, if you let the mom die, everyone's dead. I mean, yeah, everyone's dead. You know.
Everyone's dead,
So,
yeah.
but no, it's okay. You know, I mean, so that's it. That's what they did. So women.
They realize that if all of these people die, they're not going to get any tax money.
Well, you know, the thing about that is, and I thought about, wow, I hope some, you know, as much as I hate to say it, I hope some senator's daughter or wife has some crazy complications and that she just dies in a hospital floor. But I thought about it, they can afford to go to Canada. That's what they'll do. Yeah. You know, and again, you know, I love how this is nothing against abortions. Because I believe Republicans will never, because they had the House, they had the Senate, and they had the White House. They never once tackled abortions in Bush's beginning of his term, all right? I don't think Republicans will ever actually make abortions illegal. Because if abortions were illegal and they weren't up for discussion, what would they campaign on? I mean, for a Republican candidate...
That's the whole strategy.
Yeah,
right
if a Republican candidate can't go on stage and bitch about guns, gods, gays, and abortions, how would he make money? How would he fundraise and pander to his base? So,
I don't know.
and again, you know, and if we did... Now, all this is going to do, keep in mind, all this is going to do, if a woman has a serious medical condition and she's pregnant and she's like, oh my gosh, if I go to the hospital, they're not going to help me. But if I stay at home, I'm going to die. I guess I'll just, I don't know, go to Mexico, go to the back alley, get out a coat hanger, and bring back the 60s and the 70s when women were dying because they were doing home abortions. But no, this is what's important. This is what matters in this country right now, is to take away women's rights. You know, and it just, it makes me sick that that's the issue.
The next thing you're going to see on Wall Street is women.
I hope so. And I will be right there with you for your right, because
and I'll put on my dress and I'll just go out there right there with them.
You know, it's
only kidding, folks.
It just makes you sick. It's like, you know, that's their priority. And again, it's not necessarily tackling the abortion. It's just all they did was make a woman's right to live in a horrible medical situation illegal. You know, I mean, they were attacking women's rights. You know, first, you know, and again, you know, if heaven forbid they get in office, it's going to be going back to attacking gay rights. I mean, so it's always we got to attack the gays, we got to attack the women's rights. I mean, it's always like, wow, you guys are still. Who's Sharia law? I mean, like really, like they're always like, oh, the Muslims are going to bring Sharia law in here. No, Dick, you did it yourself. I mean, Republicans, you guys brought Sharia law in here by going to let women die because they might need a medical procedure.
There was a famous man a long time ago, well, not really that long ago, but back in the 50s, 60s, who said, we will destroy America without firing one shot, right from within. Its home people will do it.
Yep.
And I tell you what.
All great empires are destroyed from within.
You know, that's the way it always happens. Let us know what you think. Until the next time, Sayonara.
Raw.
Adrian Dante, take care.